Hi everybody and welcome back to Bildung Interaktiv, our little education channel. This time we have a video on the question tags and I will quickly walk you through the most important points here. Why quickly? Well, because the question tags are actually not so complicated. Let's start right away. What is a question tag? Here's your definition. Question tags are short questions at the end of statements. Okay, your father can speak English. That's a statement. He's from England. That's a statement. He was born in London. That's a statement. And just in case you forgot, statements, those are the sentences with the period at the end of the sentence or the full stop, depending on which part of the world you come from when you're watching this. So, and now we're adding a short question. Your father can speak English, can't he? At the end of the statement. He's from England, isn't he? At the end of your statement. And he was born in London, wasn't he? So question tags are short questions at the end of a statement. So what do I use? Easy. Use the auxiliary or the modal verb and the subject pronoun of the statement. Auxiliaries or modal verbs are things like can and must and will and so on. So let's have a look at the sentence. Your father can speak English, can't he? So what are we doing here? First of all, we're using the same modal verb can, and then we're using the subject pronoun, and the subject pronoun for your father is he. Use the auxiliary or the modal verb and the subject pronoun of the statement your father can speak English, can't he? So how do I do it? Negative question tag behind a positive statement and a positive question tag behind a negative statement. Your father can speak English, can't he? Can speak English, of course, is a positive statement, so we have a negative question tag. And he wasn't born in Germany, was he? We have a negative statement. He wasn't born in Germany, so we have a positive question tag. So all you do is you exchange positive and negative. Just keep this in mind. Let's continue. So what am I doing when there is no modal or no auxiliary in my statement? Well, you use don't or doesn't, or you use didn't. Let's have a look at the sentence. You play the drums, don't you? Well, the play here, of course, is not a modal and it's not an auxiliary, it's a full verb. And each time you have a full verb in your statement, then you actually go to don't, doesn't, or didn't. You play the drums, don't you? The you actually tells you you need the don't and not the doesn't. He plays the drums, doesn't he? And then we have, they went to the cinema, didn't they? Went, of course, is a full verb. It's not an auxiliary, it's not a modal, it's a past tense of to go. So what are you doing? You're using didn't. They went to the cinema, didn't they? You play the drums, don't you? They went to the cinema, didn't they? Okay, and what about my tense? Easy. Keep your tense intact. Same tense in the question tag that you have in your statement. She studied in New York, didn't she? Studied is past tense, so you need the didn't here. You need a past tense in your question tag also. You'll fly to New Zealand, won't you? You will fly to New Zealand. In your statement, there is the will, which is the future, so you need the future also in your question tag. And the negative here, of course, you'll fly to New Zealand, won't you? Your bike isn't in the garage, is it? In this case, isn't, of course, is your present tense, and you need the negative, then actually the positive, because isn't is already the negative, the positive in your question tag, and you keep the tense intact, so it's again present tense, is it? She studied in New York, didn't she? You'll fly to New Zealand, won't you? Your bike isn't in the garage, is it? Anything else you should keep in mind? Yes, there are a couple of, I would say, exceptions that we have to talk about separately. Have a look at this one, for example. I'm attractive, aren't I? That doesn't really make sense because I am and then you have the aren't in the question tag. But there is no negative form for am. There is no amd or something like this. It doesn't exist. So this is why we're taking the aren't. If you have I am, use aren't in the question tag. I'm attractive, aren't I? Let's go to the cinema, shall we? Let's becomes shall in the question tag. Let's go to the cinema, shall we? Please remember this. There aren't any monsters in my closet, are there? Now in this case, the aren't and are, this is like the rule that we have. It's present tense and the negative aren't becomes an are, which is positive. When there's a there in your sentence, you just have to remember to pull it in your question tag also. There aren't any monsters in my closet, are there? And don't stop kissing me, will you? If you have an order, an imperative, be it positive or negative, we use will or sometimes won't in the question tag. Don't stop kissing me, will you? Stop kissing me, will you also works. Okay, so please remember those four. I'm attractive, aren't I? Let's go to the cinema, shall we? There aren't any monsters in my closet, are there? Don't stop kissing me, will you? Okay, and now I have a couple of exercises for you. I will show you a sentence, a statement actually, and I want you to complete it with a question tag. There's no need to stop the video and write this down. You just do this in your mind. Shakespeare wrote great plays. And the question tag is, didn't he? Shakespeare wrote great plays, didn't he? The next one. My parents are watching a movie. My parents are watching a movie, aren't they? And there's two more. Los Angeles is in the US. Los Angeles is in the US, isn't it? Your parents will arrive at JFK Airport. Your parents will arrive at JFK, won't they? And there's more. I'm late. What are you doing with this one? I'm late, aren't I? Remember the last slide that I showed you with the little exceptions? I'm late, aren't I? What about the next one? Open the window. Open the window, will you? Remember what I told you about an order, about an imperative? Use will. Okay, open the window, will you? And what about this one? Let's take the dog for a walk. Let's take the dog for a walk, shall we? And that's also on the last slide with the exceptions that I showed you. Those are really important. I'm late, aren't I? Open the window, will you? Let's take the dog for a walk, shall we? If there is a difficulty with the question tag, then I think it's maybe those three, because the other question tags, how to form them is actually quite simple. You have all the rules right there.